Welcome to the Everyone's a Critic movie review podcast. I'm your co-host, Bob Zarrell. With me, as always, is professional film critic Sean Patrick and Jeff Lasseter. Visit us at ihatecritics.net, Everyone's a Critic podcast.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Our handle is CriticsPod. Listen to us at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Alexa, all your podcatchers. We're also on YouTube. Subscribe to the show on all those formats. If you could go to Apple Podcasts, though, and rate and review the show, we'll read your review on the air. Patreon.com/criticspod is the best way to help support the podcast. And then TeePublic, if you go over to ihatecritics.net, you can get our podcast merch over at TeePublic in the right-hand corner of ihatecritics.net, or search CriticsPod at teepublic.com. Sean, where can people get your reviews?
The archive is at seanatthemovies.blogspot.com, and of course, geeks.media. I've been updating 1993 podcasts with also written reviews. So I've got written reviews of nearly everything that we've done from 1993 that are now up. So you can check that out there.
And Jeff, where can people find your art?
JeffLassiter.com is my website. There's links to all my stuff there.
Any upcoming cons or anything that you're going to be at?
Well, there is next month. I think I'm still doing one in Chicago, which is a street fest. In August, I will be I'll actually be here in the Quad Cities for Planet Funk Con at the River Center. I'll be promoting that more as it's getting closer. Then I'll be also in September doing Midwest Monster Fest, which just announced a Killer Clowns from Outer Space reunion.
Oh, wow.
So
is that at the Rust Belt?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that because there's going to be Felissa Rose from Sleepaway Camp will be there. I'll finally get to meet her and have her sign my print. And I just found out I'll be in Chicago in November for Days of the Dead, and they're doing a Friday the 13th Part 3 reunion. The last time I was there, they did Part 2. So they've only announced a few cast members, but I'm hoping that they get a few more. So
awesome.
So we should do the next commentary after that so you can get more stories.
All right. Let's jump into our podcast then. Do you want to start with, since I wasn't here last week and I did go back and see Spider-Man instead of Transformers, do you want me to...
Let's hear it. What do you think?
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I was liking it, but when you're in the theater with people, you can be affected by the atmosphere. But when it just ended and said to be continued without any climax whatsoever, it was like a TV show where the next week you got to wait for what happens the following week. But here we're going to have to wait a year and a half, 2 years. So I was kind of disappointed in that. I would have rather they put this on Netflix or something, or Disney or whatever, and done that for this one, and then the next one be the big theater movie. But I was a little, and I wasn't the only one. You visibly or audibly could hear people just kind of like, what the fuck? And I don't know if that was your guys' experience or not, because I've had kind of a busy week, so I haven't heard last week's episode yet. But am I alone in that thought, other than the people in the theater with me, or do people tend to like this movie?
We both liked it. We were both pretty high on it actually last week. So I think, Jeff, you knew going in, right? It was going to be two movies, right?
I heard the day before I saw it that it was going to be two movies. So,
and I didn't know that going in, but I was so amazed by the art and the atmosphere and the characters, especially the new characters. I was totally won over by it. So once it got to that ending, I was like, I kind of figured it out. Like, oh, okay, so this is kind of a Lord of the Rings thing happening. So, it made sense to me to stop where they did. I think we talked a lot about that third act, though, Jeff.
Yeah, I still think that, they could have, it was already 2.5 hours long. Why not make it 3 hours? And they could have, they could have done, because it does seem to me, going back and thinking about it after we spoke about it, that really it seems like it's almost 20 minutes short of where it could have ended.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel like 2.5 hours. I mean, maybe, I think part of my frustration is I liked it so much, and getting to that point where, and like even the Lord of the Rings at least has kind of a ending for that movie before they continue on. This didn't even have that. It was just like a TV show where it was just like, all right, wait till next week when you find out only it's not going to be next week, and then on top of that, you had other people in the audience doing the same thing that I was, so it just kind of you kind of embrace what they're saying too, and it kind of makes you feel a certain way. But I mean, I was loving it up until that point, and I wish they would have done something more of an ending, along with, you can still do the to be continued. I just didn't feel like they did anything to wrap up anything in this story. So, but it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, I know for me, I was just so impressed by the art style, and I loved the new characters, and Spider-Punk especially is just still growing in my estimation as the breakout character. And yeah, I didn't mind that it ended that way. And I also, in my audience, I didn't really notice anybody being too upset about it.
And I had a fairly empty. We went early in the day, and there was maybe 5 other groups of people, so probably 10, 15 total people, and it was just easier to be audible or whatever. And my son, again, I was liking it so much I want to keep watching it, I guess, is where the frustration comes from.
Sure.
But anyway, how about Transformers? Is it any good?
Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, directed by Stephen Cable Jr., who directed one of the Creed movies. He's a good director. He's not bad. He's not Michael Bay. He's not hateful to the audience. I think Michael Bay actually does hate his audience. This is I guess a sequel directly to Bumblebee, because it happens in the middle of it happens between Bumblebee and like 10 years before the new set of Transformers, the Shia LaBeouf Transformers, starts. So it's another prequel situation. It's set in like, is it 94 maybe? I don't know. It's set in the 90s. And not good. It's not good. I don't know what to say. It's a Transformers movie. It's kind of loud and dumb and very, very silly. When I try to describe the plot, it's like a giant planet-eating robot wants to steal a thing, that'll create a portal that'll allow him to go to other universes so he can eat more planets. And then the beast Transformers, whatever they're called, they've got the portal thing, so they run off to Earth and they take the portal thing with them, and they've got to travel across universes. The bad guys do to get there, and they'll get there like millions of years later. Blah blah blah. It's nonsense. Why I can't understand. And I did play with Transformers as a kid, and I did watch the cartoon as a kid, but I think I even had like the robot animal Transformers, but I don't understand, like, why would there be robot animal Transformers? Like, why would that be a thing that exists? It just seems very dumb that those would ever even exist. I guess any timeline you want, I guess any universe can exist, but like, these all exist in the same universe, so it just seems kind of dumb to me. The whole thing seems kind of dumb. Kids maybe were enjoying it. The little boys seem to be enjoying the movie, which is great. Good for them. It's aimed in their direction. It's loud and colorful and dumbed down to a very, 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 very big degree. The script is paint by numbers. I mean, it is very, very, very simple script. You don't have to think a lot about it while you're talking. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care about the Transformers. I'm never going to care about the Transformers. I don't care that they teased a G.I. Joe movie off the back of this, which they used their credits scene to do. Like they revealed G.I. Joe. In this weird scene, they've got Michael Kelly, who's from that Kevin Spacey series. Good actor.
House of Cards.
Yeah, really good actor. And he's like being all like, we're supposed to know who he is. Like, he's acting like we're supposed to understand who this character is. And I didn't. I'm sure nobody in the audience actually knew who this character was supposed to be. And then he does a thing, and then he reveals the GI Joe logo, and it's like, oh, he's a GI Joe, I guess. But the whole
So this
scene,
means that there's going to be a crossover.
yeah, Transformers and GI Joe essentially exist in the same universe. Yeah.
Fuck me.
Can't wait till He-Man comes in.
Was that a Hasbro product?
I don't think so.
No, they're Mattel.
Oh.
Maybe he'll be in the Barbie movie.
Oh yeah, that's happening. So, but yeah, I found it weird just that they played the scene like we're supposed to get who this guy is before he ever introduces the fact that he's with GI Joe. Like it's a weird way to play a scene, but it's par for the course for how awkward and ludicrous this whole enterprise is. They really just need to stop making Transformer movies.
Well, even like I think we like.
Well, they never will.
Right, we like Bumblebee, okay, but I don't get why they're still doing the Michael Bay transitions, like the way that they transform. You know, it's do a different action sequence when they do that. I never liked it from the beginning. They've just, I don't know, make it slower or make it clunkier. I don't know, just do something different because it's too fast, too splashy, I don't know. It's.
Well, I think if they do that though, you'll see that none of this is like physically possible.
Well, but the cartoon did it slower than, I don't know, just, or even if you did it like Spider-Man does and kind of make it more with like a cartoon or with kind of a cool art behind it, I think you could do something with it, I guess. I don't know.
That's a good point. Yeah, this really should be a cartoon.
At the same time, I don't know if the story is not good enough to make it worthwhile. At least Spider-Man has a cool story. But my son got to choose between this and Spider-Man, and he chose Spider-Man. So
good man, good choice. Well done.
So I'm proud of him.
Parenthood win.
Finally.
It's interesting to know that the box office is far more interesting than the movie, because the box office they only beat Spider-Man by like $5 million, I think, in their opening weekend and Spider-Man's second weekend. So who knows? Maybe that'll be bad for Transformers. But then again, I'll look at the international audience will just turn out in droves for this shit and ruin my theory, my plan, my hope.
Yeah, when all you care about is the bottom line, all you got to do is scribble on the screen and just rack in the money.
Yeah,
that's so okay. I obviously, if anybody's ever watched our YouTube stream, I collect Star Wars toys, and Star Wars is made by Hasbro, who is the producers behind the Transformers movies, because they also make the Transformers and G.I. Joe, which are their IP. They were essentially made in the 80s. The cartoons were made as a commercial to sell toys. The only thing that is keeping them from kind of almost operating it as a loss are these movies. So we'll never, ever stop having Transformers movies, which is fucking depressing.
It is. It is.
At least I'm not a critic. I don't have to see them. And someday they'll go straight to Netflix. No, they won't. Because you have to see them on the big screen.
You never know. One of the streamings could buy it and make it their thing. You have to come here to see Transformers, and then I won't go there, and it'll be great.
I feel like they do that though. Their platform dies.
Well, considering the fact that before the movie was even before the first weekend, they already announced that in less than a month it's going to be on streaming services. So, I mean, are they trying to? They're just trying to kill theaters altogether, because it really kind of pisses me off.
Yeah, that's garbage. Yeah.
Somebody showed the marketing plan for Jurassic Park, which we'll talk about in a little bit. That came out in June of '93 and did not hit video until November or December of 1994. Think about, can you imagine that happening today?
Well, yeah, you're not allowed to do anticipation anymore. Now everything has to be immediate.
Yeah.
which is probably why I'm bitching about Spider-Man. Anything else on the new movies this week?
I mean, like I said, it's not good, but like little boys and their not fully formed personalities and brains might enjoy it.
Okay. Our Undisputed Classic in 1993 movies is Jurassic Park, as well as the rest of the original trilogy.
Yes, so Jurassic Park was released on June 11th, 1993, and became an immediate sensation. It was a sensation even before it came out, to the point where Roger Corman ripped it off before it even came out. Because he knew this was going to be huge, and it was. I remember I have very distinct memories of going to see this in the theater, and then going back to see it again, and even almost talking my dad into going to see it one time. Just came so close, but then he just wanted to get drunk. There was no beer at the movie theater at the time, so come on, guys. I know it's sad, but it's a joke. Yeah, Jurassic.
I mean,
Richard
your dad was my
Attenborough.
uncle, so it's less funny.
All about perspective. Richard
Well, I finally
Attenborough.
stopped drinking last year.
Wow. Yeah, my dad died. Richard Attenborough owns an island. This is off the rails. He says he wants to open it up as a theme park with dinosaurs that he's been making, and he invites a couple of doctors, paleontologists, to go over there and see it and test out everything. And the dinosaurs go crazy and start killing people, and it's all bad. Wayne Knight is a guy who he takes down the whole system with his, he's trying to steal the DNA for like a competing Jurassic Park, I guess. I'm not sure what his thing was. I like this movie a lot, but there are obvious, like, if you want to pull on story threads, you can. Like, here, apparently everybody else that he's hired for this island is the most unethical human being and also very stupid. And then he brings in like 3 ethical people, and they go, "This is really dumb. You shouldn't be doing this." Well, meanwhile, he's already done it, apparently with the help of a group of people who have no qualms about doing this, which is very funny to me. Where did you get these scientists who don't know that if you add toad DNA to a dinosaur, that it'll cause them to become able to change genders and thus be able to give birth as well, or give birth asexually? I thought you hired the best geneticists. Why would they not know that? It's really
They
funny.
do, but they just see dollar signs.
Yeah.
I mean, look at.
It's good that he found the most unethical scientists available. But again, I do love this movie. I'm a big fan of this movie. Like, I have always been a big fan of this movie. The dinosaurs are incredible. Spielberg's direction is superb. Like, he's a master director. He knows how to direct scenes. He knows when to stop down and have his characters be in awe of what they're seeing. There's nobody here who's like not impressed by what they're seeing, which I'm always bothered by. And like in supernatural movies, when shit's happening, like things are flying off the wall, and people are like, well, I wonder if something's going on, or are they just not, reacting in any way that's like a human being. These characters are reacting like human beings. I love the way that the sense of wonder that Sam Neill and Laura Dern have for this, and the sense of dread and fear that Goldblum has going into this. He sees it. He sees what nobody else does, and he's allowed to, voice that throughout. And it's, it's a really smart script by Crichton and David Koepp, and just extraordinarily well played out. I mean, every beat works. Like I said, there are little things that you could tug on. I really hate the kids, that Timmy kid. I just wanted him dead. I wanted them to leave him behind. Just leave him in that fucking tree or something. You just drive me from the fucking wall. I hated that kid. So I wouldn't have missed him if he'd, gotten eaten. But beyond that, though, like I said, I love this movie. I think it's an all-time classic.
Yeah, I guess for me, and I was in junior high. I think I mentioned this on a podcast just a few weeks ago. But I had read the book, not really quite old enough to truly process the book, but at the same time loved it because I knew the movie was coming out. And then was the book more of like almost more of a horror movie than what this ended up being? And I hated it at first just because like it's not like the book. It didn't start until like a page 75 and then the movie started or whatever it was. And over time, though, I've grown up and stopped being such a dumbass, and I've learned to, appreciate it for what it was, because it really is a great blockbuster. I mean, they don't make them like that as much anymore. I mean, the Marvel movies are one thing, but they're still different than what Jurassic Park was at the time. So it definitely was, I don't know, just a fun action movie, just with great scares and jumps and just well done.
Yep.
And
I can go back and watch this all the time. I mean, it's one of those ones I put it on in the background a couple times a year, the original, and it's just I never get over that sense of wonder that I had when I watched this in the theater. The fact that like a fucking T-Rex that looks like it's alive walked out in front of a car. Mm-hmm. It's so interesting to me, like the science behind it. And I mean, it's movie science, so yeah, you can't really actually get blood from a mosquito in amber. That's Michael Crichton kind of just made that up. I mean, he made the whole thing up, obviously.
But it seemed believable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that fine line of almost, I can't think of there. I know there's a name for it, but not junk science, but that science that like movie science, I guess, is the best term, where it's almost plausible, but not quite. I mean, if you really start to think about it, it doesn't hold up. And if you talk to scientists in the real world, of course, it doesn't hold up. I think that for me, Alan Grant is the character that I kind of most identify with. Obviously smarter than me, but doesn't like kids, but, ends up kind of wanting to save them. And I really wanted to see more dinosaurs in the original. So, getting to see a few that I'd never heard of, great. But once you get into the other movies, you get to my favorites. And I just kind of, I don't necessarily need more than the original, but I need more dinosaurs in the original.
I think, when you talk about, one of the keys that makes this work so incredibly well is that, for me anyway, is that Spielberg hired actors first and movie stars second. He went with people he knew could be believable in this situation and not stand apart from this situation. Like if you'd put a big name actor, like say you hire Nicholson to play, Dr. Grant, like he stands out as Nicholson as opposed to a guy who can more melt into the scenery like a Sam Neill. I thought that was just it's clever. It's a clever piece of casting, but for him and for Laura Dern and for Jeff Goldblum, because none of them are like movie stars. They're great actors first, and their sense of wonder is your sense of wonder. And then also you look at the script, like you talked about Sam Neill's journey. Essentially, his arc, it goes from hating children, leaving that one kid completely fucking traumatized in one of the early scenes, which is great, to being this very fatherly character by the end. That's a very simple, easy to read arc that anyone could pick up on. So it broadens the script broadens the appeal of it, and isn't without necessarily talking down to the audience, because for you and I, for us as grown-ups, we can see what the obvious arc is going to be of him going from hating kids to loving kids. But for a kid watching that, maybe you don't pick up on it so easily, and it plays out like an arc you recognize, and it's rudimentary, but it's well done because Spielberg is just that good.
Well, and this was 30 years ago. We weren't, we were 30 years younger, and I never got that arc at that age. I was like, oh, I guess he does like, that. I look at it now, having sat down and watched it the other day. I was like, I can't believe some of the stuff that I didn't see before that doesn't hold up, but I don't care that it doesn't hold up.
Like Timmy.
See,
Leave him in the fucking car.
I relate to Timmy the most, I think. I was also 13 when it came out. Maybe 12, actually, now that if I'm doing the math right. And yeah, I don't know. I wish I would have been old enough to not be a dumbass and appreciate it for what it was. That said, I have seen it a lot in the theater since then. It always pops up at a museum or a special screening at the theaters, and for whatever reason, that's one I've gone back to a lot. I think largely due to my son's obsessed with Jurassic Park and dinosaurs and all sorts of crap like that. But yeah, it just really, in hindsight, is really quite fun. And to think you did Jurassic Park and Schindler's List in the same year.
Yeah. We got into that a little bit on the 93 podcast, which I'm if I'm not here next week, it's because people listen to the 93 podcast. Some of the things anyway, you'll have to tune into that. One of the great things about this too is that, some people get a little pretentious about this movie. Like, you can't criticize Jurassic Park, or, it's supposed to be like a thinking man's blockbuster. Well, the reality of this movie is that it's a monster movie, first and foremost. Like, this is a monster movie. And it has all the monster movie. This has all the monster movie stuff of something like the 1950s drive-in films. You could talk about this in the same vein as you could talk about Godzilla, or a great movie like Them, which makes like giant bugs into the monsters and makes you believe. Doesn't necessarily make you believe because they didn't have the technology then, but they try to make you believe that giant bugs are menacing, tiny people, which is great. And this has got a similar sense of fun in that way. A similar sense of fun, plus a similar sense of gore and violence too to it that is more modern, but also plays along the lines of how close this comes, how much it does border on the horror genre.
Yeah,
there's some really. No, I was just gonna say there's some really scary parts. Especially, I know my friend's kid watched this for the first time the other day, and she's 11 and really got scared during the T-Rex attack. Spoiler alert.
No way a T-Rex attacks someone in a dinosaur movie. That culminates though with the best joke in the movie, where the lawyer has been eaten by the T-Rex, and Laura Dern and the hunter character go out to try and find him, and he looks down. She looks down at the ground and says, "I think I found him," and she goes, "Yeah, I found him too." They're standing 5 feet apart. That's a very funny joke, very dark but very funny. Yeah. Anything else on Jurassic Park before we move on to the Lost World?
What was the choice of having Samuel L. Jackson smoke so much in this movie? Every scene he is smoking nonstop in throughout the entire movie. It's like it's his only character trait.
I mean, it was a different time back then. Plus, we didn't know who Samuel L. Jackson was.
Right,
So
but
I think the fact that we know him, it just sticks out more. I don't know. If it was a no-name actor, would we have noticed it? I don't know.
He did get to say them. He got to say the line, "Hold on to your butts."
Yeah,
twice. He says it twice in the movie. But then you've got him, right, just constantly smoking, and then you've got Wayne Knight across the same room in that command center, like just his floor is just covered in food. He's down in Jolt Colas, and he's Wayne Knight, so obviously he smells. Can you just imagine that command center must smell like ass? It just between the cigarettes and the BO in that room, it's gross.
Well, it's just funny. Like Sam Jackson he's the highest grossing actor of all time, right? Because he has all these small parts, all these huge movies. It's almost like he shouldn't get to count Jurassic Park, even though I don't know. All right, what else do you guys want to talk about Jurassic Park wise?
Anything else you want to mention, Jeff?
Somebody said something about remaking it instead of continuing it, and I said I wouldn't mind if they remade it closer to the actual book.
Right.
But that's all I have to say about it.
I just don't know how you do that without it being. You'd have to wait a little while. At least 10 years, if not longer, before you do any. And they can't do any other Jurassic movies, which hopefully
you think they will.
They tied it up pretty good. I mean, it was a terrible movie, but it seemed like they brought everything together, and there's nowhere else to go. But if they can, they could take,
it'll be back. I mean, it's a well-known IP.
But take 10 years off, remake it off of the book, and then you can make your shitty sequels off that. I don't care. But I don't know. I'd like to see because I mean, you mentioned it's a monster movie, and it is, but it also it's kind of a safe, fun blockbuster too. I actually thought Jurassic World was more of a monster movie, like more scary, less fun. Not as good by any means, but I did find it to be more in the horror genre than Jurassic Park was. Not that it's not, but I would love to see them go full blown off of the book, but I don't know if the audience will be able to sit with it either.
I think Spielberg with the original just walks up to that line of horror.
Right.
He walks right up to it, and then does it better by not showing you every little 100%. Piece of horror.
It's way better than Jurassic World. Because they knew they weren't as good as Spielberg, I think they crossed the line a little bit. And it worked for that first one, but it was kind of all downhill after that. All right. Should we move on to The Lost World, or you guys have more to say?
The Lost World, Jurassic Park, 1997, without Sam Neill and Laura Dern, but with Jeff Goldblum. And this time there's a new island. We didn't know, apparently, that there was another island that was full of even more genetically engineered dinosaurs. And Richard Attenborough's character, Hammond, sort of tricks Jeff Goldblum into going there and visiting that island by sending his girlfriend, Julianne Moore, to the island first to look it over and see what's there. And so he decides he'll go, but he's only going there to try and rescue her and get her out of there. He's going with Richard Schiff as a sort of guide and Vince Vaughn as a hotshot photographer and Greenpeace activist whose skills in that come into play when they're having to actually try and save the dinosaurs when other bad guys show up to try and steal or kill them and take them to America. And part of the problem that I've always had with Lost World is how they spoiled the ending in the marketing campaign. Like, they immediately told you right away that there's going to be a dinosaur in downtown San Diego, and you get to see like Jeff Goldblum like looking up at it. So it's and Julianne Moore. So it's like, well, their characters are going to survive, I guess, because we haven't been to San Diego yet. You know, like, it just kind of took away the suspense. But it also reveals something about this movie that I really don't like, and that is the sort of, there's a very mercenary quality to this movie. It doesn't feel like, to me, Spielberg had his heart in this one. The way he absolutely has it his heart in the first one. He seems to have had like a Brinks truck full of money backed up to him and said, you can make any movie you want. Just give us one more. Give us one more Jurassic. Please give us one more. And so he did. And then he just sat back and counted his money and decided, let's see, which one of these scripts do I want to do that's more challenging and interesting to me? And occasionally just looked up and said to Jeff Goldblum and Julianne Moore, okay, run that direction or something. Then the dinosaurs are there. Whatever. This movie it doesn't work for me. There's one really good kind of Spielbergian sort of set piece where they've rescued this baby Tyrannosaurus Rex and they've got him on their little command center trailers, these two connected trailers, and they're in the one that's closest to the cliff, and the Tyrannosaurus Rex mom and dad show up and to get their baby, and they push it off the side. That's a tremendous sequence with a great culmination. Like, that is phenomenal. That is classically, like, all of Spielberg's talent is definitely being thrown at that sequence. But the rest of it just doesn't do much for me. I love Goldblum. It doesn't feel like the same Dr. Malcolm from the first film. It feels, you know, he's thrust out front here, and I don't know if that's necessarily a character who gets thrown out front as a sort of star. He's more of the guy who comments and and is too cool for everything. So having him at the center of the movie kind of removes sort of the emotional arc for me, and it makes it just less satisfying.
I haven't actually seen it, and I apologize for not watching the movies, but I only had one day, and I saw Spider-Man on that day. I mean, I know Michael Crichton wrote a book, and if I remember right, didn't he bring back killed off characters? Didn't Malcolm die in the book? I don't even remember.
I've never read
it. Yeah, I think he did.
But then he brings him back in Lost World. And
yeah, he had a faint pulse or something. I don't remember. I was actually thinking about listening to both of those books.
Yeah.
Again, but
it seemed like, if I remember right, and again, you're talking to when I was a junior high, early high school, that even Michael Crichton was just like, all right, give me the money, I'll write this book. You guys want a sequel? I don't know if the book's anything like the movie, but I never was interested and never saw it.
Well, there's something to be said for the fact that Crichton has a screenwriter credit on the first film, but he doesn't have a screenwriting credit on this one. David Koepp has the sole screenwriting credit on this one, so I'm assuming there must have been changes. Yep.
Yeah, I love the cast. I think it's super well cast. The story is not there. It's like, how do we get any of these people back on this island? We trick them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that, you know, you have to have a kid in these movies and whatever, but the fact that Goldblum's daughter, Kelly, I think her name, she stows away and nobody finds her at all, and it just stretches credibility, and she's never really in danger the way the kids were in the first one.
Yeah.
You know, it all seems very low stakes for anybody, the whole franchise, for anybody that has ever been in anything before. You know, it seems like such low stakes.
I did, yeah.
With the exception of Arliss Howard.
I forgot to mention this in the first one, but it's like there are characters who just have main character powers, and if you don't have main character powers, that pretty much tells me that you're going to be dead. Like the Muldoon in the first movie, like definitely that guy was going to die because I didn't know what his name was as an actor. You know, I didn't.
Yeah.
So it's like that guy's going to die for sure. He doesn't have main character powers, and yeah, that's
legs
exactly
of the 90s, by the way.
Yeah, that's a lot of the characters in this movie just they don't have main character powers.
You know, I mean, kill off Vince Vaughn. He wasn't, he wasn't like the main character, but you know, has some stakes.
Mm-hmm.
These movies, they don't really have any stakes for anybody, save for the above the marquee names. And that I think that, you know, if they killed off Vince Vaughn or kill off Kelly, the girl, you know, like, this is what you get. And he had, you know, Malcolm screaming at her, this is what you get for stowing away. But you're on a damn island with creatures that will just eat you, and nobody really gets eaten that anybody knows. You know, there's that one moment where Pete Postlewaite's, I think, husband, just the way he was, you know, mourning him.
Yeah.
You know, when he gets killed, there's that moment where he's really mourning, and you're like, okay, well, there was a little bit of a stake there, but, you know, not really enough.
Yeah. That's why the one sequence works, though, is that Richard Schiff does, at least have a character, and him, heroically throwing himself to the T-Rexes to save them is a great sequence because it ends with somebody, losing their life and having, done so heroically. That made it meaningful. Whereas the other movies seem to resist having anybody who's slightly heroic, be in any real danger. Like, I mean, that the last one, the last Jurassic World movie was awful. It was god awful because you knew that none of the main 6 characters were in danger at any time. None of them were going to die. Never felt like they were going to die for a second, and it was impossible to invest in.
Yeah,
they keep surviving things that they just shouldn't, especially in the last 3. Like the modern trilogy, everybody just survives everything that they shouldn't survive. And as we get into like this one or the next one, like there's more situations like that where nobody's putting anything at stake and nobody's really at risk.
Yeah.
I'm just reading Wikipedia on The Lost World, and Spielberg actually didn't get money up front. He got a piece of the back end. The only one who really got paid up front was Joe Johnston. He was the writer. He got $2 million. And the fans begged both Spielberg and Crichton to do a sequel, so they both did it separately. And Crichton's novel finished right as Spielberg signed on, and he took some ideas, but more or less ignored the book. And then Crichton denied them access to merchandising at first. I don't know. It seemed like it was a lot of fun for everybody involved. And then anything else on Lost World, or should we jump to Jurassic Park 3?
Jeff, did you want to mention anything about the dinosaurs? Because and you'd mentioned that this one had better dinosaurs.
So my favorite growing up was a Stegosaurus, and we got to see lots and lots of Stegosauruses here. So I was very happy with that. Incidentally, do you know what the spikes on the Stegosaurus's tail are called?
No.
They're called thagomizer. Do you know why they're called that?
No.
They never ever had a name until the early 80s when Gary Larson, who wrote the Far Side comic, he did a comic where they were mourning the loss of Thag, who was killed by the tail of a Stegosaurus. So it caught on that it was Thagomizer, and scientists were like, well, we never had a name for it. This is as good as any. So just your little bit of trivia about a Thagomizer.
That's
all
funny.
Right. Jurassic Park 3.
I wonder if my son knows about that.
Ask him. Go get him. Put him on the pod.
How do you spell Thagomizer?
Thagomizer.
Go ahead and keep going. I'm just texting myself.
Okay. Jurassic Park 3, directed by Joe Johnston this time, and not by Steven Spielberg. And new screenwriters this time, including, bizarrely, Alexander Payne, pre-Sideways, Alexander Payne and Jim Taylor, which is a very unusual choices. One other guy has a credit as well on it. I don't remember his name. Buckman, I think. Anyway, we've got Sam Neill back. We've sort of got Laura Dern back this time, but she's not going off to the island. Only Sam Neill is, along with his research assistant, Alessandro Nivola. They get tricked by a seemingly rich guy played by William H. Macy into going to this island that, not Island Newbar where he went, but to the island from the second movie, from Lost World. And he thinks he's going there so just they can fly over and he can, show him what dinosaurs are there. And it turns out they're going there because this supposed rich guy's son has crashed on this island, and he's there somewhere, maybe, unless of course he's been eaten. So they do land, and they do end up on the run from various different dinosaurs, raptors, and making a lot of mistakes along the way. William H. Macy and Tia Leone just fucking drive me up a fucking wall in this movie. They're just so fucking irritating. They get better. Like by the third act, I didn't mind them so much, but the first act and the second act, I just wanted to strangle both of them. They're just awful characters. And then their son is a character in the movie, and he's just, of course, he's just happens to have read both of Dr. Grant's books, so he knows how to survive 8 weeks on this island by himself as a fucking teenager, because the script, I guess, made him that way. It really feels like it. It really feels like that. That said, I will say I think the action of this movie is very fast paced. I think Johnston does a great job of creating a kinetic pace. It's a very short film. It's only 94 minutes, which is a great choice for this. It really moves quickly, and Sam Neill does make a better impression as a lead character. Grant is a much more notable and better lead character, but Alessandro Nivola illustrates a problem that we were just talking about with the previous film. He's a character. His character essentially does something very stupid, gets them all in a lot of a dangerous situation, and then ends up being killed, seemingly, only to, oh, there he is at the end. He's not dead. Like, because again, like they're like fucking Scream characters. Like, you can just stab them 12.5 times. They're just going to bounce right back because they've got main character powers. I like this one better than The Lost World. I do, because it is shorter and because it does move quickly, and I thought the action was smart and well paced. But I don't love it. I think it's desperately flawed. But it's certainly, like I said, it's better. I think it's better than even the 2 out of the 3 of the modern trilogy, and better than The Lost World.
I haven't seen it, but I've heard kind of the similar. I've heard it was better than The Lost World, and I don't know. Jeff, go ahead.
Jeff, you're silent. You've muted yourself, Jeff.
Okay, sorry. I like Téa Leoni. I like William H. Macy. I like Sam Neill. I like Michael Jeter. I don't necessarily like them all together. Like you said, Sean, them as a couple, Téa Leoni and William H. Macy, just, they're grating.
Yeah.
I could tell, like, as soon as they got Alan Grant, they said, oh, we just want to do a flyover, and we're super rich and we have all this money and stuff. And I was like, no, this is that kid's parents, and they're lying. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, it's very obvious.
I liked the pacing. I liked, some of the set pieces and stuff. I missed the T-Rex. And, that was one of the things that I thought they did well with the new trilogy, is making the T-Rex from the first movie kind of the star,
right,
if you will. But
mm-hmm.
The fact that the T-Rex it's not the same T-Rex as the original movie or the sequels, but the fact that it gets taken out so quickly, kind of disappointed me. And this is where it starts the problem of, it always has to be bigger and it always has to be scarier as far as the dinosaurs go. I thought the Spinosaurus was fine, but it didn't have the same cachet for me, I guess. I don't know why, but the subplot of the kid hiding underground for so long, watching this again last night, I was just like, that really stretches it for me.
Yeah.
In a movie about genetically engineered dinosaurs, that's what stretches credibility for me.
The detail though about having read both of Dr. Grant's books, like that just screams like screenplay guy trying to justify this choice.
Yeah. I thought that I missed Laura Dern Just having, just a couple minutes of her in the movie. I missed her because she was one of my favorite parts of the original. I kept one. So this is like, if we ever talk about the new trilogy, I always wanted the three of them back together again until we got the three of them back together.
Yeah.
So that was always like, oh, we couldn't get them all. We just had to get, Jeff Goldblum, and then we just had to get Alan Grant, and it was like. Then I got my wish fulfilled in the last one. I was like, oh, not like that.
Do you think at all these movies struggle by the fact that none of them died in the original Jurassic Park? Because that does, while you felt a sense of doom in those, like anything could happen, those three do make it through, which then could be a carryover to, well, of course they're not going to kill anybody off that matters in these other movies.
I think so. Though when you watch the new Star Wars trilogy, Harrison Ford famously wanted to be killed off after The Empire Strikes Back. So he said, I'm only going to do this movie if you kill me off. So he killed him off. Then you kill Luke off in the next one. And then Carrie Fisher died in real life. So it's like you have to kill her off too. And could they have gotten away with that with these movies? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the tertiary characters that died, okay, we get it. But the secondary characters, you should always have in these movies a secondary character who plays a bigger part. Not like a Dennis Nedry, but a John Hammond. He had died in the book, in the original book. I thought he should have died in the first one. I wanted to see more stakes, and I know that we can't kill the main three ever, but God, it would have just. Then you would have always wondered what's going to happen, and you just don't. You're like, oh, okay, well, how are they going to get out of this one?
Yeah, I think part of what hampers this trilogy in that way, and is the fact that Spielberg made the first Jurassic Park as a film that could appeal to all audiences, and especially one that could appeal to a very young audience. That it's PG-13, but still, kids love dinosaurs. They want to go to see the dinosaur movie. And I think part of why you can't kill off the main three is because, that childish identification with those three. I think that does definitely have an effect on what they're capable of doing in terms of who they can kill and not kill. Like, interestingly enough, I was writing today, I was randomly finishing a review of Scream 5, and I was starting to think about comparisons between, the Scream franchise and Jurassic Park in that way, and how Scream 5 needed to kill somebody. They had to kill Dewey. It had to happen. There's no other way. They could not continue this franchise with this character surviving that. And it really, for me, and I know a lot of people don't like 5. I like 5. I felt like it reinvigorated the whole thing. Even as much as I didn't want to see Dewey go, it did reinvigorate it for me, because it reshuffled the deck and said, okay, now anybody can go. Right. And you can't really do that in Jurassic Park because you've got that child audience that won't let you.
Well, yeah, and then when Jurassic Worlds introduced another group of characters who you don't kill either, it was just kind of it was silly. But I mean, I do remember being in the theater though, and there being warnings for kids who were under 13. Like, this is actually scary, so make sure your kid can handle this.
It's interesting. Like, I like the modern trilogy less and less every time I think about it. I still do like the first film. I really don't care for the second one. The last one is absolute trash. But I like them less and less, and I like watching Sam Neill in this one and seeing Dr. Grant out front. It made me think about why I don't like Chris Pratt's performance, and the choice of having Chris Pratt out front of it is that he is a movie star. He is Chris Pratt. He stands apart from the excitement and the wonder of this and turns it into just an action movie. Sam Neill's not an action hero. He never was. Never could be. He's an actor first. And his acting brings a lot to the original Jurassic Park. He looks like a guy who is not going to be I mean, he's going to have to use his mind to get through this, as opposed to being Superman action hero who can talk to raptors or whatever. Like, and I was thinking about that as I watched this film. It was like, this makes me not like the modern trilogy again even more.
Yeah. Chris Pratt always plays Chris Pratt.
He does.
He always plays Andy from Parks and Rec. That kind of lovable doofus. And I get that's why they picked him for Guardians of the Galaxy, because that's Star-Lord's character, is the lovable doofus. But he plays the same character all the time, and I mean, I just don't understand the appeal anymore. He played the same character 20 years ago in the Strangers with Candy movie. He's just like, he never changes. And because he's not super offensive, and he doesn't really do terrible things or say horrible things about people other than his wife and his kid, he gets a pass.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that he's kind of boring. If they actually go through with the talk that they were talking about after Crystal Skull and make him a new Indiana Jones, I will not watch Indiana Jones anymore. And I love those movies. So
I think he's at least slightly more suitable for that, than that he is for he shouldn't have been cast in this. Like, they should have gone with a more of a younger Sam Neill type, somebody who's not, Mr. Buff physical action man. They should have found somebody who was more on that intellectual side that could have played that a little bit more. But they wanted a big star because I guess they didn't think people cared about dinosaurs anymore.
Well, and he had just, like, they were filming it before he became a huge star, so they're kind of banking on Guardians being big. And I mean, I don't mind the fact that they did something a little different than the original, than Dr. Grant. I mean, to me, it's more annoying if you just copy the same formula over and over again. That said, like Jeff said, he plays the same thing every time. It'd be like Ryan Reynolds doing Fletch. When they talked about that, that'd have been horrible for Ryan Reynolds. He already did Van Wilder. Do something different. In fact, he had that same issue where people were kind of sick of him doing the same thing for a while there. So I don't know. I still don't mind that first of the new trilogy because it had enough nostalgia that kind of combined everything perfect. It was nothing beyond fun, but it worked for what they were going for. They took it a little bit more serious in these two sequels we just talked about. I'm assuming, I haven't seen them, but based on what you guys said. But still, I don't know. After the first one, I would be good if there's only one of these movies in hindsight.
Yeah, really, there is only one Jurassic Park when you get down to it.
You could just tell the money grabbing in some of these.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like in Part 4, Jurassic World, while they were grabbing for money, they at least took it seriously. But other than that, it just seemed like a paycheck for everybody.
Definitely.
And that's our show. See you next week with The Flash, The Blackening, and Batman. And Last Action Hero. Anything else on the Jurassic Park movies before we go to Flick Chart? Do we want to run Jurassic Park through Flick Chart?
I would be down for that.
I mean, I do love it.
All right. We will do that, but next week we do have The Flash, The Blackening. Our classic is the 89 Batman, and in 93 Last Action Hero, and Once Upon a Forest came out. All right.
Can't wait to see The Blackening. What a great trailer.
What is The Blackening?
It's a horror movie about a group of black friends who go to it looks like a cabin in the woods, and the tagline is "Not all of us can die first." Which, I mean, I'm already in.
That's a great line. And actually, it's funny. I was noting on the 93 podcast that Jurassic Park may not be a horror film, but it adheres to the horror movie trope of a black guy dies first. The first victim of the T-Rex is a black guy.
Oh, the T-Rex.
The first death in the movie is a black guy. When you're first putting the dinosaur on the island.
No, it's a Latino guy.
No, he's a black guy. I'm thinking.
No, he's Costa Rican because they're
I
like
literally
right out of
just watched
Costa
it
Rica.
yesterday.
I did too.
All right, let's not argue what race the character was.
Sean's gonna look it up on YouTube right now.
All right,
We've
Jurassic
had that argument before.
Jurassic Park or The Interview.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Agreed. Jurassic Park or the Brady Bunch movie.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Agreed.
Sure, Jam.
Jurassic Park or American Beauty.
Jurassic Park.
Is it Kevin Spacey American Beauty or Nicolas Cage
From
American
now on,
Beauty?
it's Nicolas Cage.
Even if it was Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, Jurassic Park.
I would generally say American Beauty, but I'll go with you guys win. Jurassic Park Insomnia.
I really love Insomnia.
Yeah, but I'd watch Jurassic Park
Yeah, Jurassic Park.
first.
That's what I. Jurassic Park The Shining.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I think I'd go The Shining. Jurassic Park Dolomite Is My Name.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Jurassic Park Annie Hall.
God, Jurassic Park.
Oh.
But Nicolas Cage directed it.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, okay. Then, yeah. Then Eddie Hall. Yeah.
I'll go Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Eternal Sunshine.
Jurassic Park.
Eternal Sunshine's better. And I know if I watched it right now, I'd be like, this is one of the best movies ever. But every time I get away from it, I forget how good it is. Oh, I'll go Eternal Sunshine. Jurassic Park Men.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Agreed. Jurassic Park Juno.
Juno.
Oh, Jurassic Park.
I'll go
I
Juno.
like Juno,
I'll
but
go Juno. Wow, number 15.
Solid effort. Not sure why Dolomite Is My Name is up there so high, but
Because this one popped up here twice now. Want to run Dolomite Is My Name through?
yeah, that's fine.
watch me pick everything but that.
I liked it, but I mean, it's just a movie. Holy shit, number 45. Dolomite or The Interview?
The Interview.
Yeah, actually, I would take the interview. Now that's going to be way too high.
I think I'd take Dolomite on that one. Dolomite or The Commitments?
Wait, look
Dolomite.
at your screen right now. Dolomite went from number 45 to 1,390.
Perfect.
And the interview's in the 1000s as well. However, so was The Nightmare on Elm Street.
2010.
What?
Part
Oh,
4.
Dream Master.
Part 4.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Never mind.
yeah.
Tango and Cash. What the hell? All right, are we done with
Where it
Dolomite?
belongs.
I would say so. Yeah.
All right, let's just rank random movies.
Yeah, why not?
Night of the Living Dead, 1968, The Village.
Night of the Living Dead.
One of my top 10 favorites.
Agreed. I love that poster too. Public Enemies, Fried Green Tomatoes.
Public Enemies.
Lesbian representation in fried green tomatoes. So, yeah, happy Pride.
Making me feel guilty. Public Enemies.
Homophobe.
Yes. Machete, El Mariachi.
El Mariachi.
Yeah, El Mariachi.
Agreed. Expendables 2, Star Trek 5. I could give a shit.
Both are trash.
Star Trek 5.
Yeah, same.
101 Dalmatians, 96. The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
You guys can pick. I've never seen either one of them.
I'll go
I've seen parts of 101 Dalmatians.
Ballad of the Scruggs one. Avengers, Age of Ultron, Little Monsters.
Age of Ultron.
Avengers.
I'm going Little Monsters. Scanners, Black Widow.
Black Widow.
Aside from the head scene, yeah, Black Widow. Aside
It's
from
really
the head scene, I don't really love scanners.
exactly. It's like it's one of the lesser Cronenberg movies, honestly. When now that I've seen like Shivers and you know the other stuff is actually way better than that.
Right.
The Brood is better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like his most well known, I think, just because of the head exploding scene. But
Excalibur, Brazil.
Brazil.
Agreed. White chicks still smoking.
Oh my god. Okay, so quick story. The only two times I've ever seen my dad laugh so hard that he almost wet his pants were both of these movies. White chicks or Cheech and Chong still smoking. Like to the point where he couldn't catch his breath. He was laughing so hard at both of these movies.
I've never seen either.
Still smoking.
Yeah. Still smoking, but White Chicks is fucking hilarious. So stupid.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape? Reanimator. 21 Blank Check.
21?
Yeah.
I don't remember Blank Check.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
Drumline, It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life.
So, yeah, definitely.
Contagion Jr.
Contagion.
I love that.
Great movie.
Dogma, Double Jeopardy.
Dogma.
Just kidding.
Agreed. Dogma finally might get to come back out.
Oh, that's good. I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, you know the story that Harvey Weinstein took it over and wouldn't release it to anybody. Yeah. The Lady Killers, Hell is for Heroes.
I've not seen Hell is for Heroes.
Yeah, me neither.
Lady Killers, Babe.
Yeah, Babe.
I think Lady Killers is better than most people think it is, but, you know.
I agree.
A higher opinion of it than most people, but Babe is better.
Babe's pretty good, though. Doom or The Help?
The Help, I guess.
The Help, but what is with that poster?
That is a weird poster, right?
For that movie.
Yeah,
it's not a... it's got like a Pride poster, but it's not. That is not that movie.
Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, or The Thomas Crown Affair. 99.
I haven't seen either one of them. I didn't go see The Two Towers because I was getting something happened to me in the first one, so I never.
Worst hand job of your life, right?
Not worst, but.
I'm going to the Two Towers.
I'm going to go to the Thomas Crown Affair. So nobody wins. Now we're in. Let's see if I have a quarter here. We haven't had to flip this thing in a while. I'm surprised you voted for Lord of the Rings.
I was on the fence, but I really don't like the Thomas Crown Affair.
I don't either, but
or maybe I do. I just don't remember.
It won the flip, by the way, but I liked Renee Russo and she was naked in it. Zero Dark 30, The Invisible Man, 1930.
Zero Dark 30.
The Invisible Man, Claude Rains is absolutely unhinged in that movie, and I love it.
I think I'm going to go with The Invisible Man. I like Zero Dark 30, but...
Oh, yeah, me too.
Crank, High Voltage, or Sky High?
Crank, High Voltage.
I'm going Sky High. I love that movie.
I like Sky High, but Crank, High Voltage is just... it's fucking stupid. It's fucking amazing.
Chaos 2005.
I don't know if I've seen Chaos. It sounds familiar, but I don't think I've seen it.
Is this the one that's like the Last House on the Left remake? Or is that something else?
Very well could be. It looks that way.
I think I've seen it. It's like really gross, but really, really bad. Or Steve Jobs. Finding Nemo or Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs.
Finding Nemo.
I'm going to go Finding Nemo. Top Gun Maverick or For the Love of the Game?
Oh, it's Top Gun Maverick all the way. That Costner movie is a fucking sleeping pill.
I liked it, but I've never seen Maverick. Do you agree, Jeff? Maverick?
Whatever you guys want to pick, because I have not seen either one of them.
Sean's seen them both, so he wins. The Island or Monsters versus Aliens?
Monsters versus Aliens.
Yeah.
I prefer
Oh, wow.
the Clonosaur to the Island.
I hate the poster, though. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Spy Kids 2.
Eternal Sunshine.
Yeah.
Agreed. Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, 2006, or Romeo and Juliet?
Romeo and Juliet.
1968.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet.
Even though it's basically child porn.
We just picked it. Alien, Now You See Me.
Alien.
I would actually prefer watching Now You See Me, so yeah.
I'll go Alien. That's my favorite of all of them. But I'm not too far away from Sean, though, sadly. Rumble in the Bronx, The Game.
Rumble in the Bronx.
The Game.
I'll go Rumble in the Bronx. I love Fincher, but The Game pisses me off. I, Tanya, The Good Shepherd.
I, Tanya. Great movie.
Hi, Tanya.
Absolutely. Scanner Darkly, Jack.
Scanner Darkly. Good God.
Yeah.
Meet the Spartans, Summer Rental.
Summer Rental.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. The Fantastic Four, 1994, The Dark Knight.
Have you guys seen that?
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Is this the one that
The
never
Roger
came
Corman
out?
one?
It's
Yeah.
on YouTube. You can watch
Right.
it.
We watched it for the show.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Obviously,
It's still the best looking thing.
Absolutely.
it's the best Fantastic Four movie.
I don't know how you do the Fantastic Four good, though. I don't know. Maybe
I say this as somebody who actually liked the Jessica Alba ones. I don't know if you can do it better than they did it then. And that's not saying much because I know that they're objectively not great movies, but I enjoyed them because the Fantastic Four is like one of my favorite comics. So
I always liked the Silver Surfer, but yeah, I never got into the movies. Us, Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox Story.
Us.
Absolutely. Redbeard, Miami
Never heard of it.
Vice. Good job.
no.
Sucker Punch, Miami Vice.
Miami Vice.
Yeah, I guess, whatever.
I don't care.
Same. Yeah.
The Breakfast Club, Clue.
It's tough. I love both those movies.
Yeah.
Clue.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome. 'Cause
Yeah, I'm gonna say Clue as well.
I don't like the Breakfast Club, so that works out for me.
I don't mind it. It's just you can only watch it like once every 20 years.
I just think it's overrated. Everybody didn't love it so much. I might like it better, but it's just, I don't know. It's really not that special.
I like 16 Candles better, even though it's like
Oh, yeah.
horribly racistly dated. But it's a better movie.
Very funny.
Ender's Game, The Shining.
Shining.
I want that Shining poster. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, that's a I think it's a Polish one.
Wow.
Polish or Czechoslovakian.
That's incredible.
It's incredible, but that would literally give me nightmares. So I don't know what I want it.
That's when I love it.
I like it here. I don't want it on my wall.
The Shining, obviously, yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Surrogates, Idiocracy.
Idiocracy. And they're both basically the same movie.
Even though we're living through it, I'll pick Idiocracy.
I just wish Idiocracy was better.
Oh,
Friday the 13th, Part 2, The Return of the Living Dead.
All right, Bob, we're gonna force Jeff to pick here.
Yeah.
I heard that note of pain, and I was like, I gotta know.
yeah. So I'm gonna pick Friday the 13th Part 2. However, Return of the Living Dead is top tier 80s zombies. I mean, we should do that as a classic sometime. But Jason is, and it is Jason's birthday, June 13th. So we got to pick Jason.
The Road to El Dorado, The Lady Killers.
Lady Killers.
Lady Killers.
Agreed. The Last Samurai, Free Willy.
Last Samurai.
I have never seen either one of them.
I was going to go Free Willy.
Up to you, Bob.
I'll let you have it, Sean. I don't care that much. Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, The Hustler.
The Hustler because it's shorter.
The Hustler because it's better.
The Hustler.
Time Bandits, A Bug's Life.
Time Bandits.
Yep.
Overboard, Euro Trip.
Euro Trip.
Oh, Overboard gives me like childhood memories, but it's so bad. I mean, it's just like so abusive. Euro Trip.
Nice.
I was going to pick Overboard, but now you make me feel bad for being abusive because it is abusive. Wall-E, Wanted.
Wall-E.
Yeah, Wally. To look at our future. So,
I would love to have one of those floaty chairs.
You should watch Wall-E with Pink Floyd's The Wall behind it. It's pretty good. I'm not even joking. Pitch Perfect, Backdraft.
Oof, you guys go ahead.
That's Pitch Perfect all the way.
it's perfect.
Backdraft sucks.
Yeah, it does.
It's one of those movies that I loved growing up, and then we had to watch it for the podcast, and it's like, fuck. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, or the
I've not seen either of those movies.
Good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Although, I mean, I saw pieces of Parnassus, but yeah, it's a long time ago.
American Animals, The Cannonball Run.
Cannonball Run.
I don't remember American Animals, honestly.
All right. You and Jeff. Ray, Rocky.
Rocky.
Ray. Because
Okay.
I know it doesn't matter what I pick.
Inglorious Bastards. I picked Rocky, obviously, for you those at home who don't know me.
I know. That's...
Inglorious Bastards, City Slickers.
Inglorious Bastards.
Yep.
Agreed. Sideways, Hoodwinked.
Sideways.
Just kidding, Sideways.
Agreed.
I actually just published a brand new review of Sideways at Geeks.media. It was recently named one of the top stories on the site. So, you want to check that out?
Sideways, a movie we've never talked about outside of Flickchart on this podcast.
That's so weird.
We all like it. Even when Josh is on, we liked it. Never did it.
Meanwhile, we just spent a lot of time talking about Alexander Payne's Jurassic Park movie.
The Policeman's Little Run, 1907.
Never seen it.
Nope.
I'm going to get rid of both of these, sorry. The Producers, Traffic.
Man, that is interesting. I'm picking The Producers, but I do have an affinity for Traffic.
Mm-hmm. I would say the Producers because Mel Brooks gets away with so much good shit.
Yeah. And I used to never
Far
go
more
back.
fun watch.
I never go back and watch Traffic either. It's like I saw it once and I'm just kind of done. But not done in the way like I am with Requiem for a Dream where it'll never leave me. I don't know. Midsummer, Date Night.
Duh.
Still number one.
Mm-hmm.
Howling 6, Fun with Dick and Jane.
Fun with Dick and Jane.
Yeah, the Howling after the first one are just...
Red River Valley, Spider-Man 3.
Never seen Red River Valley.
Unbreakable, Spider-Man 3.
Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Agreed. Milk, Logan's Run.
Milk.
Yep. Peter Pan, 2003, Employee of the Month.
Oh, they're both fucking trash.
I've never seen either one of them. So.
I stumbled across on my For You page Dane Cook asking people if they want Employee of the Month too.
Is that who's an employee? I don't think
Hard
I've seen
no.
It is him, right? I swear to God, it was
is.
Dane Cook.
It is. That's hilarious.
All right. That's a good way to end the show too. All right.
Perfect.
Next week, The Flash and Batman. See you then. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.